Alright guys, going to be talking today about the worst and the most disappointing items of the year. Let's lay some shit on some shit stuff, because we all secretly like a bit of negativity in our lives, don't we? Alrighty, so these are the things that I think are just outright not very good. Like, it's funny, like I'll start with the snap-on. So this is probably the best of all these things. Really, it's not a terrible knife, it's just really, really ugly and it's quite stiff. But overall, I guess it's not a complete fail. It's just got all the hallmarks of just, you know, no thought knife design. So a really overly attached clip, like why they do this around the pivot, tip down only, of course. 7CR17 steel. This is the sort of stuff that, you know, a lot of people would just have as their pocket knife because they don't know what else is available. They'll go to the hardware store and say, oh, I might get a pocket knife and get this because it's got a well-known tool brand on it, and, you know, this is it. And so I guess when you compare it to like a Z Hunter, it's still probably at least 5 times better, but overall it's still a pretty average, pretty weak knife. My buddy Nick sent me this just to have a bit of a look at and get a couple of videos on. You know what, the ergos aren't terrible. The blade is, you know, it gets relatively sharp. It's 7CR, so it's not the most good at anything still, so it's actually rusted a little tiny bit up here. Yeah, but you know, it's probably the weakest of all of these items. The next is this Y-Start Gen 1. This knife just didn't do anything for me. It's big and heavy. It's marked as D2 steel. It's actually 440A, fairly sure. This is just one of those like multi-brand knives. Like this same knife is made for Boca, and Boca sell it, and Boca brand it as 440A, and you can get it from a bunch of different, so it's very much, you just don't know what you're getting really, but I edge tested it and it cut within the parameters of 440A, and it's more stain resistant than D2, indicating that it might be a stainless steel, whilst still rusting a tiny little bit like 440 should, so just a bit of a, I don't know, these get really sold as amazing deals. And I'm sure that not all of these are like not the right steel. And it's not even it's not the right steel. Like the JX6 was not the right steel either. And I was really happy with that. It's just the overall package, just not particularly successful. It's really, really thick. It's not actually going to cut that well. It's got no pocket clip whatsoever. It's kind of a big sheath type knife. Again, it's not the most terrible thing in the world, but not quite as good as the snap-on knife. Not quite as bad as like the Z Hunter. The next I'll talk about, this isn't complete shit, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I just don't know why they would make something like this. This is an open L with like electrician's bits on it, and it's got like the 12C27 stainless knife, but it's open L's recipe, which doesn't hold an edge for as long because it's got less carbon in it. Really, really soft stuff actually. And then it's got these bits that are sort of just very much, and these are ones that came with it, they're like really sort of, they're just rusting up in the handle like, you know, nothing else. So obviously not particularly high quality. They do stick in the end and you can use this as a screwdriver, but it's not got enough tools for anyone to actually use it as their one multi-tool. Like a proper like electrician or someone is going to carry like a dedicated set of tools, or they're going to carry like an insulated, you know, set of crimpers or cutters, or they're just going to carry a Leatherman rebar or, you know, a Gerber MP 400 or something like that. So it just doesn't make sense. I know they're trying to diversify their traditional knives, but this one's a massive miss for me. It's $50 as well, which I don't think you're getting the materials for $50. This plastic feels really cheap. I don't know, just a bit of a fair miss for me. These two items here are just outright shit. This is a hammer multi-tool, which has that much clearance for your jaws. You can force it open a little bit more. Not very good at all. And you hold that there, and then you can obviously use the hammer, but when you grip it, it's just full of things that are sticking into your hand. This is pinchy as here. If you slide up by accident, this is quite sharp here, this nail pull section. And then the knife is just blunt. It's just not even a knife. Just squeeze as hard as you can on that one, nothing. And then it's got this sort of Phillips head serrated thing here, which is still not very sharp even for a serrated knife. And then this last bit, you just can't get it out. It is a smaller knife again, I think. It's like a chisel edge with something like a crimper, and yeah, so just the standard crimper and stuff. So it's just crap. The wooden or fake wooden scales don't fit. It's just a garbage, $2 tool. And then the Z Hunter is really as horrible as they say it is. This is de-assisted, so Nick could send it to me. I met my Patreon things for Nick. Yes, I Patreon for others. Nick and Black Owl Outdoors are my Patreons. But anyway, it's complete shit. It's like mine, the plastic scale just came like this. It's just coming off. You can't undersell how garbage these scales feel. Like, not only are they covered in skulls, bright green, but they're also just hollow. It's just this hollow awfulness to them. It's funny, you see like channels, like you see like Zombie Go Boom actually like had a knife video with knives like this on it, as like these are knives that we like think you should get. It's crazy. Like, people actually are into these knives, and they obviously just for not a great deal more, you can get something really good. You can get like a Leatherman Crater or something for, $20 in America. I don't get it. It's truly a horrible knife. And the steel, as you saw in my steel test, held its edge for like no time. It dulled itself on like 5 or 6 bits of rope, like just complete trash. So the Z Hunter is definitely the worst bit of gear I've had all year, which is kind of a cop-out. More interestingly, let's talk about the most disappointing. So starting out, I was incredibly disappointed when I used my Spyderco Little Nalaka in a very light example of wood shaving, so making a feather stick, and the blade got a roll in it. I really was hoping that I knew the issues before. I knew the S30V issues, and this isn't the end of the world, but it just went to demonstrate how I wouldn't have wanted to push it any further. So about here is a little hump in the blade that I just simply cannot get out. It's too small to just sort of pinch back in. It's just gone. So it's completely lost all confidence in me actually using this knife for anything. That was just a real shame, because I quite like the design. It's not a perfect pocket knife, even if this didn't happen, but it's quirky and interesting design, which I think can get you a fair way, especially with sprint runs. But it's just the annoying thing. A sprint run, a flash batch, which is what this is. So this model is actually only going to exist for a little short amount of this year. You should still be able to use them. Like, it should still be a usable good knife. And you know what? You should be able to buy a flash batch. You should be able to buy one user and one safe clean if you want. I didn't. I just bought one user and actually use it. I just don't have the confidence to use this one, and that's really sad, because it does slice really well and it does minor tasks really well. But to be honest, I'd be hesitant to even put this in cardboard now, because frankly, that was a real disappointment for me. So there you go. That was the Little Nalaka, and that was probably one of the most moral moments of the year. The next one I don't have here, but that was Gerber's new index flipper. Like, it was their one flipper that they did this year, and it was just a piece of trash. Like, they went and chose 5CR15 MOV for it. They made it in China. They had a really heavy full steel frame, bulky aluminium handles. The flipper was sharp and not comfortable to flip, and it was hurtful in your hands when the knife was open. It was what was the other thing? The liner lock was just not it was just eccentric. Like, you just didn't click across easily. Lock disengagement issues. It was not a good knife, and it was disappointing, because it looked really good in the images, and then obviously if you read the literature, you'd see it's a garbage Chinese Gerber, but just the whole thing, like, dudes, this year was probably, in my opinion, the last year to really capitalize on the flipper market. I think we're sort of moving away from it now a little bit. When ZT's flagship knife this year wasn't a flipper, I think that's kind of saying something. But anyway, it was kind of last year, and just a dumb choice by Gerber right there. And the most disappointing knife of the year for me was probably this one, this Viper Keeper. I tried to put a silver lining on it, and and I still don't hate the design. Like, it's different and it's unusual. It's like stiletto-ish, and it looks cool. It's a cool looking knife, I think. Some people might think it's terrible looking. I think it's cool. It's got a comfortable handle, but this is a $200 knife. In Australia. It's made of D2 steel, which I'd be fine paying $200 for D2 and, nice sculpted micarta if the D2 actually was worth a damn. They've not treated it correctly, and it doesn't hold its edge for very long. It's really soft in terms of When I did my rope test, I did it twice and then again trying to make it actually cut well, and I just couldn't get it to. So with both the workshop edge and with the traditional edge, and even when I did the other day my fire steel testing, this was the one that got damaged the most. So it's like it dealt with the fire steel, which yes, you don't want to do, but it dealt with that worse than the 420 HC and the Gerber. It was just, the whole thing's been disappointing. I know the lockup, I knew what I was in for. I knew it wasn't going to flip open every time. I've tweaked it so it does, like with loosening the pivot and, well, not even loosening the pivot, just applying oil. The pivot's actually quite tight right now. And I know that because I also try and adjust it so the centering is in line, but you just cannot get that to happen either. So it came uncentered, and most critically, you can snag the blade with your finger from the closed position, which is inexcusable. That is just a dumb mistake, guys. Like, it's just not putting your knife together properly or not designing it properly. That is not what a folding knife is supposed to do, especially when it is tip up only carry. So stupid Viper. That is an amateurish mistake, and there is nothing blocking it. It just closes properly, nothing's bent, shuts fully, but when it is fully shut, you can snag it. And I have had gashes and scratches down the side of my hand from this knife, from the fleshy part of my hand, grazing that bit while it's been in my pocket. This knife, I'm stuck with it because I'm not going to sell it to someone, because unless someone wants to buy it from me for $50 or something, like I'm not going to curse someone with this knife. It's just no good. It looks great, and the other reviews I've seen of it, I'm just not sure if they've actually used it properly and actually tested it hard, because it's a massive letdown for me. And it is probably the most disappointing knife purchase I've had all year. So there's that one there, ending on a bit of extra layer of negativity. But there you go. So disappointment, Gerber, Spyderco, and Viper this year. Outright trash. The trash brands and Opinel. So there you go. Alright dudes, I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.